Thanks for stopping by the Surge T channel. I am Surge T, and in this video I will be giving my recap and thoughts on the ninth episode of Cobra Kai Season 5 entitled Survivors. And I gotta tell you, this episode had me thinking certain people were gonna meet their maker, certain people were gonna get hurt, we're gonna be saying bye bye to one or two characters, namely one. I'll get into that when I get to it and as I go along in this recap. I enjoyed the episode. We're in the what do you call it? The end. We're in the home stretch. One more episode after this, episode 10, and my journey watching Cobra Kai season 5 will be over. Don't want to see it then, but of course, all good things must come to an end. But let's talk about this episode, and I will talk about it and let you know what I thought. We see it start off where Sam, you see her lashing out at Tori. You hear somebody go, fight, fight! And, Miguel and Hawk and Dimitri, they go out there. They see Sam attempting to fight. I mean, she's fighting Tori. After Tori confessed in the last episode, confessed that that Sam did not win the tournament. Now, Sam in here is arguing, is really pissed. You can see it's because she even said it that you did nothing about the tournament being rigged. You didn't say anything, and now you're gonna tell me. And Tori ends up just going, you know what? This was a mistake. It's a big mistake, and she just runs off. Robbie calls out to her, but she's gone, and Robbie can't do nothing about it. And there's bitter feelings there between there was before, but with this thing she ends up even hating her even more. Now we see Tori later on, and it's kind of like a callback to Karate Kid 3 when Daniel was being trained by Kreese, I mean not by Kreese, by Silver, and he's punching the wooden man, and he's punching it, and he's drawing blood from his hands, and when he gets him to the point where he's just has all this anger in him, and he ends up, just breaking the face part, breaking the chest part, breaking the leg part. We all remember how that went, and he felt badass. He felt like, oh, even later on, we was with when he was out. Remember, he was out there in that club, and he ends up, popping a dude in the mouth, right? And we see here that it's not wood, folks. Not even oak, which is one of the hardest, pieces of wood out there, or trees, I should say, out there. It's a solid, stone slab. She reaches for it, and she's like, "This is stone." And and she said, "I'm not going to do it." And then the uh, you know, three senseis, who of course are under Sensei Kim, they get right in front of her, block her. I'm thinking, man, what a bunch of punks, like this little girl and But again, they're like employed pretty much by Silver, and they answer to Sensei Kim. So yeah, they're gonna do what her bidding, and that was their way of punishing her because she deserted the fight, the previous day. So they forced her to punch through the stone dummy, and what happened was that Sensei Kim's like, "You're weak. Why are you hesitating? Because it's the boy, because of Robbie, because Robbie earlier had confronted us, the what do you call it, the Cobra Kai, you know, students, and tried to get them to leave and go with him. He says you're weak, pretty much saying that makes you weak." And she says that she says that, and then she just basically gets mad at her. Tori does. What is that she said? She said, "I stayed with the dojo because of you, bitch," something like that. But she did say that all that anger, all that that all that pent up frustration, and she punches through the head part of the stone slab, but she breaks her hand. And when you see her on her hands and knees, you see blood just dripping off of her hand. And all that adrenaline, later on, she's gonna be feeling that. But let's go to something else. Let's go to well, let's talk about like what happened with Robbie. Robbie attempted to persuade the Cobra Kai students to quit. They ignore him. Even Chris Silver said that you say he told them pretty much to just perform pretty much the moves that they were doing when we see them doing. They were doing double punches, a kick, and then they did you know going into push up position and then going back up. And then he says, "You see, they heard you, but they listened to me." And so, pretty much telling Robbie, "You're not gonna convince these guys to go, these guys and gals to go, because I got them trained very much." Now, Miguel, Sam, Hawk, Dimitri, and Bert, they approach Stingray at his house. He's playing Dungeons and Dragons. He kind of offends these nerds that he's with, but pretty much isn't he a nerd too? you know. And they're trying to get him to admit that it wasn't Kreese that beat him up, nearly killing him. We all remember that. And he uses a very clever way of telling them without actually telling them. He uses a Dungeons and Dragons scenario to recount the true story of the assault. And he's pretty much saying that this is a leader that represented Kreese, and he said here's his monk that represented him, and then they said the silver warrior represented Terry, and how he pretty much he beat the monk, nearly killing him over and over. He was beating on him, and he ended up taking out the leader and becoming the leader himself, taking over the entire guild. And Stingray even talked about he just wanted to get into the guild. But we find out that he is actually scared. And why wouldn't he? Look what Silver has done to Daniel. Look what Silver has done to pretty much anybody who he wants. Oh, what do you call it? Barnes. Didn't physically beat him up and didn't physically hurt him, but he might as well, because he pretty much hurt him in regards to that, because that's like a legacy. His father-in-law's store, right? And he took it to another place, and he took it to being more successful. And I wonder if he's coming back. It'd be great to see him come back, but maybe that's for episode 6. I mean, season 6, I should say. But Sam, she gives Tori another chance, because they realize that Tori, even Miguel told her. He said, "Hey, Tori had to, pretty much kind of swallow her pride and kind of tell you the truth, to admit it, you know." And Miguel knows what it's like to be in Cobra Kai, how you're brainwashed. But Tori you can tell that Tori has a good heart. It's just that she's been, you know, misled and told lies to. I mean, she even refers to Kreese, as somebody who betrayed her. I mean, hopefully they get back to being together, and seeing eye to eye. But I can understand what she's going through. I can understand why she did what she did. But so she's in there. She does visit her, and she notices she sees her mom in a hospital like bed, and she just sees the feet covered in blanket. And we've even known that before, but I guess these guys never did. I don't think they ever did. I think, yeah, definitely Kreese knew. He found out. I think he did. Did he? Yeah, I believe so. If anybody knows, I believe he's the only one that knows. And they decide to work together, you know, so that they can plan with the other students to acquire evidence of Silver's crimes to show the Cobra Kai's, because they're not going to believe him unless this comes out. And I like how it opened, we see Silver kind of like encounter Carmen and Johnny, because Carmen and Johnny are getting the sonogram, and it's beautiful to look at. It's great that they're both having a baby, and you know, Johnny's not really up on that because he wasn't there for sonograms or whatever they had back in the 80s, or not back in the 80s, but back when he was his wife was expecting. And they see the sonogram, and he's like, "Oh yeah." He goes, "Oh, look at that! He kicked. Look, he kicked." And then the nurse is like, "Well, he's not. The babies don't kick yet." And he's like, "Well, my son's going to. He's going to be a kicker." And she's like, "Well, we don't know if it's a boy and a girl." And very happy. They're very happy, and they go into the elevator, and then Kreese comes in. I mean, Kreese. I keep saying Kreese, but Silver steps into the elevator with him, and he doesn't realize because he was talking about Daniel and Johnny, but Johnny thought that he was talking about him and his wife. How do you know about my pregnancy? So I'm not talking about, you know, Dad. I'm talking about you and you and Daniel. He was congratulating them because they're in the tournament, right? Because they're going to be a part of that tournament, the Sakai Takai. And Johnny's like on his guard, man. It's like you better keep your distance from Carmen because I hope to see these guys fight. You seen they call it fight him, Daniel, and so that's that. He steps out of the elevator, and then you just see them as it fades and goes to the next scene. And then what happens is that well, Daniel and Amanda and Chosen are just talking to him. They're there, and they talk about having some drinks, something like that, and she's like going, well, I can't, to that effect. And then Amanda just figures it out right away. So you guys are pregnant. You guys are expecting. Congratulations all around. Everybody's happy. And then they decide to go clubbing, courtesy of what do you call it? Courtesy of Daniel's cousin, Vinny, right? Vinny. And they go there and they're clubbing and they're dancing. Well, the girls dance first, and the guys are just sitting and chilling, drinking. Chosen's getting you know wasted. Looks like a guy who doesn't drink that much, and if he does, it's probably sake or something like that. But he's holding his own. He's not making a fool out of himself and trying to pick up girls and looking like a fool. you know. But I love that scene. It was really great. And through the course of this episode, you see the course of this part anyway. You see Johnny and Chosen having a moment to talk, and Johnny just gets to the point and he goes, I can't believe that you don't have a girl. How about you have a girl waiting for you back in Okinawa? And in my mind, I'm thinking, what if he had feelings, and what if he wanted to be with Kumiko? And then when you see Johnny, you know, he goes to the bar. That's where Daniel's at, and then lets it slip that Chosen might have had a feelings for Kumiko. He goes there, Daniel does, and tells him, "Man, why didn't you tell me about Kumiko?" He talks about when they were kids and they play hide and seek, and Kumiko found him every time. He says every time. And then when he was at his lowest after the whole thing with the tournament, well, not the tournament, but the fight to the death, pretty much, right? And the fact that he didn't even save the girl that was, during the typhoon, and everything that he felt, he disgraced himself and disgraced his uncle Sato and all that. So they're talking, and he says that Kumiko found me again. And why didn't he tell her? Did he tell her? He asked Daniel. He goes, no, 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 I know. I never told her. I never told her. And Daniel, I mean, he had a little fling with her, and they shared a kiss, and that was that. Like you're thinking in Karate Kid 3, he might bring Kumiko back with him, but then at the end, of course, we remember that she told Daniel. We have find out in part 3 that she, and we saw it in the Cobra Kai, the Cobra Kai season 4, where she became a world renowned dancer, and she's had her own school in Okinawa, and she's teaching all these kids how to dance. So she found her calling. But little do we know, that Chosen had feelings for her. But he said that he just definitely could not even think about doing that, trying to tell her, because look what he did to her. Remember, during that fight, he backhanded her across the face, knocked her out, knocked her down. I mean, he was so intent on destroying and pretty much maybe even like killing Danielson. He had those feelings of like just rage, like both of them. Actually, both of them did, but it's like he's definitely not going to tell her, right? He's not gonna go, Kumiko, But it seems like Kumiko to me is a person that forgives. And to me, that happened shortly after the Karate Kid too. During that period of time. So they were still young. She saw in him that he forgave. I mean, she even, she's a special kind of person. That's what they both agreed on when he said she's a special kind of, woman. And she would have forgave him. She saw him turn around. It would have taken some time, but maybe, who knows? I'm wondering if people out there probably wondered if they ever got back together. People were thinking. I think, if I remember correctly, I think there were some people that they were thinking that when before we even knew that Kumiko and Chosen were going to show up, that they're probably thinking that these guys. I thought like these guys, you know, forgave each other, and then they got together and eventually got married later on, had kids and all that stuff, had a family. That didn't happen. We saw how it happened. It was pretty funny because Chosen's acting like he wants to beat the hell out of Daniel, and then he find out all he wanted to do is just honk his nose like Mr. Miyagi did to Kreese, and I know But yeah, that was a good revelation. I like that. It was like it's like a whole thing of like we just wondered if if that ever happened, and almost did, but Chosen decided not to because, like I said, he did some unforgivable things, especially including her, with doing some things that he did to her. So it's like, how is he going to do that? You wouldn't be able to do that, right? It would be hard for you to do that to someone, even though you love the person. But look at what he did during their youth, during their, it's kind of hard to do that. But that's that, and they decided, they almost decided to call it a night. Well, actually, the boys, Daniel, Johnny, and Chosen wanted to continue to party, but Amanda, especially Carmen, she said pretty much it's past her bedtime. She needs to rest, and of course she needs to rest because she's with baby now. She's with a child, so they decided to go, Amanda and Carmen, and then the boys decided to take the limo and decide to ride off, and they're singing "Eye of the Tiger." Boy, we love these guys, but man, they can't sing for save their life. But who cares, right? Who really can sing when they're drunk? All right, when they're having a party, everybody sings something loud, some sing off key, some people just scream, and it's fun. They're having a blast and singing a classic. And that's what I love about Cobra Kai, because even during the dancing, when they're dancing in the clubs, they're playing 80s songs. I love it. You know what I'm saying? But they're in there, and all of a sudden, Daniel's like, "Hey, we're kind of taking a bit long to get to a club or something like that." And then Daniel's going up there, and he's knocking on the window, the little window that's closed. He's like, "Hey, hey, hey, what are you doing? Where are you taking us? It's taking long, what all that." And then we see a flash, like it goes to the club. I guess the same one. I guess those guys, someone, what I mean? Like you see Vinny. I hope that's his name, the cousin of Daniel. But hopefully, well, he was like there, and the guy who's usually, the one driving, the buddy of Louis, that's his name, Louis, of Louis, he's like, wait, man, where's the limo, man? Like, like that, and then what I call it, and what I call it, and what's his name, Manush, or the guy, the one, his partner, Louis' partner, who little do we find out he's at the same club, and Vinny, I keep seeing Vinny. Louis sees him. Hey man, who's the girl? Who's your? And she turns around, and it's what do you call it? It's his sister, who's played by Julia Macchio, of course, who's Ralph Macchio's real life daughter. And they get into a fight, and later on they patch things up. And Louis, he was a dumbass because he was drunk, and that's his sister, and he just wants him to respect his sister, and he's like, yeah, I'll respect her, of course. And I love you, brother. I love you, forgiving each other and all that stuff after beating each other up. And now we know that it wasn't his buddy that's driving; it's someone else. And the car's swerving side to side, and they can't, keep their bearing. They can't keep, seated in one side or just going from side to side. And then Chosen, he actually he's trying to open the door. It's locked, and he's like going, somebody doesn't want us out of here. Then Johnny goes to the small window, starts banging, keeps banging on it. And then Chosen thinks that it's silver. He says it's silver. It's probably not silver. It's probably one of his boys, one of his heavies, one of his paid guys. I don't know. It could be silver. Who knows? He's the kind of guy that, despite his riches and that, sometimes he takes things in his own hands. Sometimes he pays people off. But you know, and that's how Cobra Kai ended, leaving you with a cliffhanger. Like, what's going on? Are they getting taken to their not their imminent doom, or like they're gonna be killed or anything like that? But I think they're gonna get their asses beaten by somebody. I mean, probably all three of those senseis. Sensei Kim will probably be there too. And you see Terry, because somebody else is probably driving it, and they're gonna have a thing where it's just like, here's the thing that like I said, I think I said it in my last review, last recap. Terry's a guy who is quite skilled, a great martial artist. I mean, you know, and he always looks like he's going, oh shoot, oh, what are we going to do? Oh no, during the tournament, like he had a look on his face, like why didn't he have that cocky look on his face? Because he always believes that his students can beat Miyagi Do Eagle Fang. I think what was Stingray called it Miyagi Fang, which that's actually what they could call it because it actually sounds pretty good. I believe that's what he said, right? He said Miyagi Fang when he was talking to when he saw Bert. Hey Bert, what's up? How you doing, man? And then all of a sudden there's Sam and Dimitri and Miguel and Robbie were there. So but yeah, kind of lost my what was I talking about? But yeah, I mean that's pretty much my recap and my thoughts on the episode 9 of Cobra Kai season 5 entitled Survivors. So let's see what if Daniel and Chosen and Johnny survived their joyride, pretty much against their will because they thought they were with Louis' friend, but nope, it's someone else who's driving. And what's their destination? Where are they heading to? That's going to be answered for me anyway in episode 10. I'm looking forward to that. That's the last episode, of course, of this season. And I'm not looking forward to it because then that means it's done for this season. It's going to be a while before season 6 comes around. But anyway, that's my video. So for those of you who stopped by and checked it out, I appreciate it. And in closing, as always, take care.